Are you looking for a fresh cut in Westerly? Step into Rio's Barber Shop in Granite Plaza. Whether it's a classic trim or a trendy new look, we've got you covered. Experience the perfect cut for every age and style in a friendly and relaxed atmosphere. At Rio's, it's not just a haircut, it's an experience. Visit Rio's Barber Shop in the Granite Plaza in Westerly or give us a call to schedule your appointment at 401-315-2208. Your style, our craft, Rio's Barber Shop.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Westerly Sports Talk. My name is Ben Barber, and I'm here with the coach. How you doing, Ron?
How you doing, Ben? Thanks for having me again. Should have a nice, exciting show today with some coaches coming on. Baseball coach should be coming on. Okay, good one.
One second. Something's going on with your mic. Let me just fix that for you. I got it. Don't worry at all, sir. I'm just gonna boom. All right, coach, talk to me.
How you doing?
All right, there we go.
All right.
Yeah, something happened with your mic. So tell me about how the baseball season's going so far.
Yeah, so through 4 games, we're 1-3, a little slow start. Started with 1-3 last year though. Ended up 14-8, getting a first round home playoff game. So, we're looking to rebound and have a big week this week. Through the first 4 games, what's really been our strong suit is pitching's been very good. We got a team ERA of 2.1 right now. We're stealing bases, getting guys in scoring position. Only thing that's been hurting us, we haven't been getting that big hit, that timely hitting with runners in scoring position, and haven't really had many of those two out hits this year so far. So the team batting average right now is we're only hitting about 192. So that's got to improve. Defense here and there has been having an issue here and there, but overall the pitching and defense has been there. We just got to start hitting. We had a close loss to Barrington. 2-0 up there in Barrington earlier in the week. And then we kind of ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw with Cumberland, who they're definitely one of the the best teams in the state this year. And they beat us pretty good 10-0, where I think we had 1 hit and not much went right for us that day. So looking forward to this week where we got Fitch on Tuesday away. We got East Providence away on Wednesday. We're home against Lincoln on Friday, and then away at Charahoe for a nice rivalry game on Saturday. So a big week for Westerly baseball with 4 games this week. So it's really going to test our pitching, and hopefully our bats come around and we can. This is kind of where we woke up last year. I think we started out. Let's see, we beat Fitch, so we started out about 2-4, and then we rambled off about 10 wins in a row to kind of solidify that home playoff game. So we're looking to get hot again and get those bats going, and hopefully everything will fall into place for us.
How was the transition from last year to this year as far as seniors and new people coming up, and because that's the great thing about high school sports. Every year it's a different team.
We definitely lost some high-end pitching and upper class pitching. We got Mike Poole, who is off at University of Maine right now. Chase Collins is at University of Southern Maine. And we also lost our big closer, who gave up about 1 run in 2 years, Zach Miner. So a lot of shoes to fill pitching-wise. And early in the season, we've done a very good job of filling those roles with, Tom Fiore pitched one of the games, close loss, first game of the season to Coventry. We lost, ended up losing 5-3. And then Jack Zeberini was the starter when we won in that walk-off game against Cranston East. That was an exciting one. Luke Gwaltney ended up getting the win in that one, coming in relief and getting the win. And then Tyler Falcone had a great showing against Barrington. Fortunately, couldn't get the bats going. We lost 2-0. And then on Friday, Thursday, we lost to Cumberland 10-0, who hit the ball all over the place and made a couple errors. Very young team this year. And Tom Fiore's been out. He's been unavailable the past week or so. Hopefully we get him back toward the end of next week. So without him, really our only senior right now is is James Hooper, who's our kind of relief specialist. So it's a team full of underclassmen. We got about 5 or 6 juniors starting, a couple sophomores in there, and then really 3 sophomores right now. It's six juniors, and that's pretty much the team. And a lot of underclassmen getting a lot of the experience right now. So.
Love it.
And Ryan Francis did just come in, Ben. So,
yes. Oh, I know. I just talked to him. I'm excited about this. Let's do this. We're gonna go to a quick commercial break.
All right.
And when we come back, the rivalry of the century continues.
At Dime Bank, we're all about community. It's who we are. Local communities made up of customers, families, and friends. Business owners invested in helping their communities thrive. Dedicated employees committed to giving back in ways that go beyond banking. If your banking relationship leaves you wanting more, come join our community. It's your bank, your choice, your dime.
All right, guys, we are here officially with the coach of the Westerly Bulldogs football team and the brand new coach. Congratulations, Ryan Francis of the Stonington Bears.
Thank you.
Guys, please don't break anything in my office.
It's all right. It's going in cycles. Believe me, I've been through a rough patch as an assistant probably about 10 years ago. We lost about 5 or 6 in a row also. So
yep.
It happens.
All right. So yeah, let's get this started. Ryan, introduce yourself.
So I'm Ryan Francis, Stonington alum, graduated in 2014. Been coaching there for the last 8 years as an assistant. Also in basketball assistant there, usually coach the freshman basketball team. Just finally took over the head job. Football's been a part of my whole life and played it all growing up, obviously through Stonington. Went on to Springfield College and had a chance to play on the team up there for a few years. And so here we are today.
And man, that's one thing that I really like when schools do with both Westerly and Stonington with Stonington and Westerly alumni coaching, leading their teams. Played both of us played at our high schools. It really adds to kind of the historic elements to the rivalry and to the pride of the school as well. And that's one thing at Westerly that I'm always trying to do is kind of teach our kids or get them kind of involved in understanding the history of Westerly sports and especially the Westerly Stonington rivalry, but Westerly sports in general, and how important it is to community. And it's always great when you're being led by one of your own. So congratulations, and that's I really love when past players come back and are head coaches. So it really makes a difference, I think.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, hey, how's it going, guys? So, Coach, when did you, Coach Francis, when did you graduate from Stonington?
2014. So I was actually there when Ronnie was talking about those years where we won 5 or 6 in a row, and so it's kind of flipped. But that's the way it's been, for 100 and whatever years now. There's a reason that it's tied after all those years. I mean, everyone goes on their runs.
Absolutely. And now that it is tied and you're able to have sort of a fresh start with a fresh rivalry, it's basically 0-0. What are you planning on doing to take down the Bulldog?
We got a lot of games before that happens. We got 9 to go before that, but we're not going to run away from it. We're not going to hide from it.
Just sucker punch him now. Just sucker punch him right now.
But yeah, that's absolutely a program goal. I mean, it's something that the community cares about, the school cares about, I care about. Like, obviously, no one likes to lose, especially when it's on Thanksgiving Day.
And trying to hold off talking about, Stonington. I'm sure it's the same thing over there during the season because there is another season going on. Both teams trying to make a playoff run, and so many important games leading up to that we really try not to talk about it too much in front of the players, and we're trying, because especially it was probably right before Dwayne Miranda came in. When he came in, that was one of the things he really didn't want to do is talk about the game too much because, Westerly, we kind of went through a little mediocre streak there where we hadn't made the playoffs in a few years. And that was kind of the number one goal to get to. And, if we're looking ahead to Stonington too much and only worrying about them and, that's like the biggest game, we're not worried about the playoffs, it can become an issue where that's all people are caring about and people kind of don't care about the playoffs. But we want to be a playoff team and obviously a championship team that we finally brought here last year. But within the coaches, though, it is hard to kind of not talk every now and then. Or every week we're kind of looking up scores of other Rhode Island teams, but we're also checking Connecticut scores as well and seeing how they're doing. So we try not to think about it too much leading up to the game. It's hard, but we're trying to keep our players focused on the other games at hand that we have because obviously he wants to be a playoff team as well. And I know they've had some very good teams in the past, but not many actual playoff teams. And one of the unique things about the Thanksgiving Day game right now for Connecticut is that it counts for them. Where else it's after the season, so it's a non-league game. Obviously, it doesn't matter non-league league. Preparing to win every single game. But there has been years where us beating them on Thanksgiving kind of kept them out of the playoffs. I've been coaching since 2005 at Westerly football, and mostly for an assistant up until this will be my fourth year. And I can probably count about a handful of times where if they beat us, they wouldn't beat the playoffs. And I don't think any of those years they did. So that was good for our part, not for them. But it's great that game is a big thing going on. I see the East Providence coaches here.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. But first, I need to fan the flames of this rivalry a little bit more. But in all seriousness, Coach Francis, you do have 9 games before that, and like Coach Pizzato said, the season extends past Westerly for Stonington, and so it's a big game, obviously big tradition and all of that stuff, but you want to create a winning program, not just one day a year, but every day. And you have a lot of good talent. I mean, we've gotten to watch the Bears, not just on Thanksgiving Day, but for the past couple of years calling their games. And I'm really excited about the future. You guys have a lot of great young talent, a great young quarterback who had a good sophomore year in Ben Thomas. And there's a lot of building blocks to succeed, and coming from the system, what they are already. So how excited are you for the team that you get to build this year?
Yeah, we're real excited. I mean, we have some very good players coming back, but honestly, better than that, we have great leaders coming back. We're going to be the guys that are going to help us kind of establish the culture and stuff that we want to do. We have a few guys from the staff before that are returning back, which I think are going to be positive. I mean, every one of our coaches now is a Stonington alum. The coach talked about before, it's kind of important to both of our communities. But these kids are really going to be a group, I think, that's going to set the standard. And I talked to the seniors the other day that they may only be here for 1 year, but it's going to be one really important year because they're the ones that need to set up the standard for the next few years, because we're going to have a younger team probably the year after. But then there's some more talent coming up after that. So these guys are really going to be an important group to build what we want to build. And we have a tough schedule to start. Our first 4 games are not going to be easy. It gets a little easier after that for a few games. But we're going to have to compete right from day one. And I think the group's do it.
No, Coach, you go.
No, I was going to ask him about his staff, if you had it all set up yet, and who the some of those guys are, if you want to let everybody know.
And so returning to the staff, we have Pete Christina, Stephen Bailey, and Corey Candelette. Then we got some new guys coming on and stuff. We're finalizing all that. Pretty much this weekend, I've had to have some tough conversations and stuff. It's been probably the craziest week of my life trying to get everything started at once. I mean, it's my phone hasn't stopped ringing with emails, texts, calls. It's been the most chaotic week probably ever. So we're finally starting to get all that finalized, get our kids back in the weight room because it's been a few months and stuff like that right after break. So we're excited to get it going.
And I know Steve pretty well from the men's softball league for years, and he's a very good coach over at Wheeler with softball and basketball, and I know he brings a lot of energy to the table, and he's always excited to go. So he's a great assistant coach, and
sure. We're very happy to have him.
Yeah.
I love it. Coach, will you stick around for a bit? You got a little bit of time today?
Yeah.
All right, because I got more questions for you, but let's get another rivalry. to talk about right now. And that is on the baseball diamond this Wednesday. This has been, for me, Ron, this has been the most exciting baseball matchup to watch for the past 4 years that 321 has been covering. The great playoff run that you guys had against East Providence a couple years ago was just incredible to watch, and I'm really excited. So, Coach Rodricks, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ben, thanks for having me again. It's great.
Thanks for being here, and you didn't even have to drive down this time.
Oh, thank you. But it's actually a pleasure to be on with and Westerly football. That's like one of the longest rivals. I hear about they say
Most meetings between interstate teams.
huge like Thanksgiving Day, rival, but I always heard Stonington and Westerly was even more of a rival. Pretty cool to be on the show with those two programs.
And Bobby, you've had some great pitching success. I've seen the last week or two with a couple no hitters coming in. That's pretty amazing having 2 no hitters early in the season like this.
Ron, usually we don't see it during the season. It's just a very rare thing. But a lot of people questioned our pitching this year because we lost 3 of our top starters, all the college programs, and one of them is, my nephew. He's a sophomore transfer from Henrican. So that was pretty good. Always good to, And also we had a pitcher who had Tommy John surgery a couple of years ago. So he didn't even play last year. And he's a senior this year. So I knew he had the potential. But, they just, obviously kind of superseded, my expectations right away. And honestly, I know it's early in the season and, we still have a lot to work on. But, just, seeing that is just a pretty amazing, thing to go through, I guess you could say.
And, we lost a lot of pitching too. And that's actually one of our strong suits so far has actually been our pitching. We've had trouble scoring runs, especially without Fiore in the lineup. I'm hoping he comes back this week sometime. But he's pretty much our one everyday senior. He's batting 400 something in the couple games that he was able to play in. But without him, we need to kind of get some bats going, and people need to step up and need to start scoring some runs because we can't rely on our pitching all the time. If we don't score, it doesn't matter how good our pitching is. So, hopefully the bats come alive this week. And I know it's not going to be easy on Wednesday. Hopefully we get a nice win on Tuesday against Fitch to kind of get us some confidence and get going there. But it should be a great game on Wednesday. It always is. We've had those couple of years in a row, 2023, when you guys won the Division II championship and kind of beat us to kind of get there. And then the following year kind of got you back. And since then, it's kind of going back and forth. Every single game, I think we played each other 3 times each those years. And it's kind of steamrolled since then. And every single game's a big game and exciting. And the players kind of realize it. And, it's great. It's great to see some excitement out there in baseball when sometimes it's not the most exciting sport. But
yeah. Well, like the guy is exciting. But that's even how I described, Westerly baseball yesterday in the after the game circle. I said, listen, we got our newfound rival, Westerly Wednesday. Like, yeah, like no respectful rival. We both play hard, and like you mentioned, Fiore, that kid's been killing us for years now. Right arm over there in the outfield. Like, I know he's the real deal. And I honestly thought he graduated already. I was like, oh, wait, they got Fiore again. That's right. So we know that we're going to have a battle, whether it's at our place, your place. It's almost like we'll beat you at your place and you'll beat us at our place. So there's no real home field advantage, when it comes to Westerly and East Providence. So, yeah, we're definitely looking forward to it. We do have Henrican the day after, but I'm making sure as the coach, we're not going to look past Westerly. That'd be crazy to be like, oh, we got Henrican next week. No, we have Westerly next week, and we always take one game at a time, but this is going to be a very tough week for us. We know that. So.
And Division I is extremely tough. Every single game is gonna be a game. There's really, not many easy teams on the schedule. it's a battle every single time you're out there. And last year we ended up 14-8, and we were still just the 8 seed. You know what I mean? Everybody kind of beats everybody, or a lot of people have some out of conference games. Playing some Connecticut teams, Massachusetts, a Division II team here and there. But every Division I is a battle out there, and you make one little mistake, and it's probably the difference in the ball game. Where compared to being in Division II, both teams might make an extra mistake here or there. But Division I, it's almost flawless baseball with maybe an error here or there, maybe a bad walk every now and then, but other than that, you make one mistake and it's probably the ball game. So,
no, you more, yeah, you had a lot more leeway, and there was some teams in Division II, but then towards the bottom of that division,
yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. But like we just had a battle in South Kingston, extra innings, and it's always tough to play in Old Mountain. I'm sure and
yeah.
So again, yeah, we made one little mistake and we lose in extra innings, 2-1. So yeah, that's definitely the case. And we love Division I baseball. It's it's the baseball where you got to be on your toes the whole game. And yeah, we're holding our own so far. So hopefully we can make another playoff run. But yeah, the RPI system is it's crazy because right now we're 4-1. And we're I think in 6th overall, and it seems like 2-0 that are above us. So I'm like, wait, that RPI is definitely. I'm just learning it now. God's sakes, I got to learn the new how many meetings and what's a meeting with players, coaches, the pitchers. So a lot of new rules that I'm trying to adapt to. I'm kind of an old school guy, but we're learning. It's a learning curve.
And the RPI is kind of new to us over here. In Connecticut, we got the football coach over here. It's always been a thing with every single game counting, and depending on enrollment of the other school and what level they're at. It's a similar system that we have here. And for baseball and basketball too. With the more games, it's a little different where it kind of evens itself out a little bit. Where in football, with the amount of there's so many less games. Picking teams who you play and kind of strategically picking teams to get points. And even if you're playing a team that's very far above you, like for football, we play a lot of Division I teams or out of state teams. Like we're playing NFA this year. And I know they either count as a Division I team or like a super division team. So the super division team's even more than Division I. So even a loss to a team like that doesn't really hurt you, but you get a win. It's almost equivalent to winning 2 or 3 games for us. So, we beat a couple of those out of state teams, and all of a sudden we're almost clinching a playoff spot with only 2 games. So, a little more strategic in football and baseball. As long as you're winning games and you win enough to get in there, everything should work out fine. But yeah, if you're a team that's only kind of winning against the bottom of the barrel teams, you're gonna, even if you have a decent record, you're gonna be kind of down toward the 10th, 11th place toward those bottom playoff teams. And how many make it in Division I? 12, I think.
Yep.
So, and it's about, because like I said, last year we were 14-8 in the 8 seed, and I think the 12 seed pretty much had just about a 500 record. So there wasn't many weak teams in the playoffs last year. And Division I baseball in Rhode Island is one of the better sports in the state, where you get the amount of players that go Division I is pretty high compared to a lot of other like say basketball in Rhode Island. Not many Division I players go play Division I in basketball, but in Rhode Island baseball, there's a good amount of kids that go play Division I. So it's exciting to be in Division I, seeing all these teams as well, and all the best players in the state. So,
and actually, a JV program is coming down to my field today.
Yeah, our JV guys are coming.
Oh, forward to that because we know we're going to always get a good JV game. It's kind of tough. I don't know if you noticed, a lot of JV programs, I'm not going to say they're weak, but some teams don't even have JV.
Yeah. And our numbers are down a little bit. We only have 22 total. So we don't play any JV games on the same day as varsity this year. I had to kind of move a couple. So we have some swing players, obviously, that are playing JV and kind of round out that JV roster. We have a couple of varsity guys. I know you'll see one today, Kevin Saglio. He starts for us in varsity in the outfield as a sophomore, and he's playing every JV game too. He's played 5 games this week. So he loves baseball, and JV is not below him at all. He'll go play as many games as possible. And he's a great player, and Real bad to have him a few more years. So he's leading the team in hitting with Fiore out right now. So and he's playing JV. So
So no, that's what we only have 28 total in our program too. So we're cannot play on the same day, JV and varsity. So yeah, it's definitely tough. You got to kind of manage that. But yeah, we're in the same boat. Got a few guys that are on the varsity roster that'll play late just to make sure they do get their reps, because they might just play the field for me at varsity, but they're not hitting. So this would be a good time. And like I said, we know Westerly is always a good program from varsity to JV. So I was like, yeah, you're gonna go play against them, and we want to beat them. It's Westerly.
Yeah. Plus, you always have, we have a bunch of younger position players for varsity that also pitch, but might not pitch much for varsity, and they kind of pitch for JV and get their innings in that way as well. So it's a good way to get a lot of games in for these kids in 2 months, and hopefully they getting better every day, and hopefully we're playing our best baseball in May. And same thing with you guys. You want to be playing your best baseball once the playoffs start in mid to late May. So it's all kind of working up to that point.
I'm just surprised the season got going on time with all this. That was crazy. I can only imagine Westerly, and the coastline over there, But yeah, we luckily we didn't have to, push the season back, and everything's good. Everything's on track. So pretty good.
I actually just pulled into Similori yesterday and noticed the snow mound was gone.
Yeah. The town put all the snow from town in the parking lot, so it was kind of melting a little bit onto the outfield grass. So our entrance near the bullpen of the away bullpen was kind of 5 inches of mud, but it's all good now and ready to go. The town actually did an excellent job on the field getting us ready to play on time.
Yeah, it was actually from what I've seen, it was actually the schools up north that were having a harder time with the snow removal on the fields and things like that. So,
we don't have to worry about that. We get turf, so.
Coach, are the baseball games? I know that the football games and basketball games are broadcast on your YouTube on the YouTube page. That doesn't usually happen with baseball. Baseball is usually out of the way. They don't really have like the NFHS cameras or anything like that. So do you have East Providence baseball doesn't get any love on film, I assume?
Not really. I believe we have the equipment for it, but it's just not been set up at this point. And the Portsmouth game, that was on Game Changer, but that's because a Portsmouth parent put it up there for us because they had like a relative in Florida that wanted to see it. So once in a while we'll have a game on Game Changer, but honestly 3-2-1 covers us more than probably anyone, so that's why we're kind of looking forward to get us on again.
All right, fine, Coach. We'll talk to the school about coming up and opening up East Providence. I have a moratorium on adding new schools because we're at like a dozen now, but actually we're at 11. So maybe we can make it an even dozen, and we'll get East Providence going.
That'd be great. I know we're a little out of the way, but I always enjoy going to Mallory Field. So that would be great if you guys.
Honestly, you're not any more out of the way than Cranston. You're fine.
Further up. All right. And I do want to congratulate Coach Ron on Coach of the Year and his football championship this year. It was great watching it. And I remember sending him a message. I was like, well, if you don't get the key to the city now from Westerly, I'm sure. But that was good to see. I love when not just athletes, but when coaches coach multiple sports and they're successful at both. So, that was really good to see, and I was proud of my rival coach over there. And, like I said, nothing better than seeing a coach win at multiple sports. So again, officially, Coach, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we will see you on Wednesday, Coach Rodricks, and I'm sure we'll see you later in the season as well. Do you guys come down to Similori at all, or we got to wait till the playoffs?
Only play one, but we're gonna at a playoff game. It's gonna happen.
We'll end up playing in the playoffs.
All right. We'll see you for the playoffs, and call me about the equipment that you guys have that's not set up. We'll get that fixed for you. Awesome. Thank you.
See you, Bob.
Look, Stonington.
All right. And boom, look, I got nameplates for you guys now so people know who you are. Not that people don't know who you are already, and you're both wearing your team merch, which is fantastic. So Coach Francis, you graduated in 2014 from Stonington. By my math, that puts you at right around 29, 30.
30 years old. Yep.
All right. So a young coach. We have Coach Dan LaBelle in the other room right now on Sports Open Mic. He became girls basketball head coach at 22 or something crazy like that as well. What do you think your like youth and excitement and like 30 feels younger now than it ever has, I think. But like you're I feel like you're going to bring a lot of energy to the team. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And Coach Masking, honestly, was not that much older either. He was only in his early 40s still. He had started the job so young. So it's not like we're going from this crazy transition to someone who was.
Coach Massengale, I heard, was in his late 70s. I'm kidding. Coach, I love you. But no, I know. But we're talking about you, man. And also he had been there for a while, right? So when did he start?
He was like 23 when he started, so he was very young. But honestly, I'm even being 30, I feel ready for it. I mean, my time at Springfield, becoming a PE teacher and stuff, and playing football up there, I think really prepared me at a younger age. And being an assistant right out of college all the way through, I totally feel ready for it. Even at a younger age, probably might be the youngest coach in the conference. But so we have a pretty young staff in general, but we have a pretty experienced staff. So.
Yeah, I don't think 30 is too young to be ready for anything. I think 30 is prime. So I think that's fantastic. Tell me a little bit about, so you guys lost some big seniors like we mentioned earlier, but you have some great people coming back. I was looking at the roster. I'm really excited to see like what Kyle Olsen can do this year. He had some fantastic catches that we saw last year and just did some really great things all in all. And then Gabe Torella. And am I pronouncing his name correctly?
Yes.
Thank God. Okay, good. Because I called some games and I'm like, I someone tell me if I'm correct. I'm mispronouncing these. But there's a lot of great young talent. But what are you looking forward to the most as a coach? Is it just building a winning culture? Is it finally slapping Ronnie around on Thanksgiving? For maybe almost the first time since you were in high school. No, it hasn't been that long. How long has it been now? 7 years?
2016, I think was the last one.
Yeah, 16 was the last win.
Okay, so almost 10 years or 10 years.
Yeah.
9, minus COVID.
Yeah, 8 games.
8 games. Okay, so you're going to be the guy that finally does it. It's just a matter of when. And I know that Coach Pizzato is like, I'm leaving here for Ben saying that, but I just want to listen. If I can't get you guys like choking each other by the end of this, then I've failed as a promoter. I got advertising to sell, guys. No, but it is such a, like, you've been around, obviously. You went to college, you started coaching, you've been an assistant, you're from here, like you both said, having the alumni as coaches is such a huge part of it. Like, what are you looking forward to as far as building the culture and building on what Coach Massengale had been doing?
Yeah, I think we're just excited to try and take things to the next level. I mean, he left with a pretty good foundation, but I think there's a lot of things that we can do to really kind of start to elevate the program to where it should be. I mean, Stonington has some phenomenal sports teams. Girls basketball just won a state championship. It seems like boys soccer and some other ones are competing for these state titles every year. We haven't made the playoffs since 2002, so we're the one that's kind of lacking behind. And we're trying to elevate to that level, and that's going to take some time. It's not going to be something you do overnight. It's going to take some time to build it up, but we have the kids for it. I mean, you mentioned some before. Gabe Terrell is probably one of the best players in our conference. We have a lot of dynamic athletes. You mentioned Kyle. We have Braden Langren, Austin Center, receivers and stuff. We have a lot of guys that can do different things. We had some of them deal with some injuries as we went through the year last year. We probably should have had a little better record than we did. We just dealt with some of that stuff, but lost some games that we should have. But if we can turn those things around a little bit and put these guys in positions, I think that we can start to do that.
Yeah, definitely there were some unique situations in some of those losses last year that you're like, okay, well I remember I called one game. It was the game with no fans in attendance. I called that game, and that was despite those unfortunate circumstances, it was also raining so hard that nobody could get any footing. Nothing could if that game had ended 2-0, I wouldn't have been surprised. And I think that it was only like 8-6 at the end of it. It was rough, and like it could have gone either way. And so some of those things are bound to happen all the time. But
yeah, that was one of the craziest games we've ever been a part of. I mean, they had an unfortunate situation in school that day that led to lockdown and early dismissal and stuff, which led to no fans. And then we outgained Bacon. I think it was like 350 yards to 105, and they had not even on one play.
Yep.
And it's just that was one of the toughest games we've had to deal with, just because it was an emotional day for the kids.
Yeah.
And then to lose like that on top of it, that was tough. And it kind of, I don't want to say derailed things, but it made the next couple of weeks a little bit tougher to try and recover from that big emotional letdown.
Yeah. And those are the types of things that happen in a season, right? Like, and you're, and those are outside forces that you can't control the weather. You can't control situations that happen, unfortunate as they may be. But you just try to do your best. What are you a PE teacher at Stonington right now or somewhere else?
Nope. I've been a PE teacher for the last 7 years at New London High School.
Oh, nice. All right. Love it. Which team in conference are you most looking forward to the challenge this year? I say that because I know that at 11 o'clock this morning, Stonington baseball is facing Killingly, and Killingly is always a tough challenge. Are they in your conference, or do you just play them every couple of years?
They are in our conference, but they're up in Division 1. We're down in Division 3.
Okay.
With the success they've had, so we only play them every few years. We always play one Division 1 crossover. This year we play Fitch, which is kind of like our rival on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
It's, part of Stonington is the ground side and all that. So Mystic side. But it's, I would say Fitch. Fitch is a good one. It's first week of the year, and we've kicked off with them a handful of times over the last few years. So that'll be a good one.
I'm pretty sure we're scrimmaging Fitch early. It's supposed to be at home, I think, August. Let's see, it's probably like August 20 something. So we'll be hosting Fitch in a scrimmage in late August before we get our injury fund game going. So I think they have a former Stonington coach over there, right? I think I was talking to him as an assistant, right?
Coach Brown.
Yes.
Elijah Brown.
I was talking to him up in the Boston clinic.
Yeah, he went over there as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Very nice.
We're probably not going to see Flexbone over there anymore. No more option.
Nope.
Fitch is another one like East Providence that's on the list of schools that are coming up for 3-2-1 it's the next logical step into Connecticut for us. So I'm sure that will be covered soon, and maybe we'll get that. Is that first game of the season at home or at Fitch?
We're at Fitch, but it's kind of a special game, honestly, for me too. My wife went to Fitch. Her dad was just a longtime coach there, Mike Ellis. He was just retired.
All right.
Oh, nice.
So there's definitely a big connection for us and our family and stuff like that. All her sisters, you can go to Fitch and stuff like that. So it's going to be a good one, week 1.
All right, Coach, for you, we're going to find a way to stream that game. So we'll have that game so that extended family and everybody that can't watch it and can't be there will be able to see that game.
Nice. You guys do a great job, and we're happy. You guys have done a bunch of our games. We have Game Day Game Day does it for the day.
Yeah,
they do a lot of our games and stuff. We're really lucky, kind of in our little area of the whole states, that we really can get as much exposure as we do.
Yeah, I love the guys at Game Day. They do a fantastic job. And they of course travel around and do like one big game a week. And they're fantastic. So anytime, and when we were doing a lot of, our goal for the fall is to have enough advertisers in Stonington to make sure that Stonington has a fully dedicated broadcast team to cover every single one of your games for all of the sports, just like we do in Westerly. And one of the benefits of having the day is, like, I was talking to, last year there was a big football game that you guys were doing, and I was trying to figure out how to have our teams do 3 football games on the same night, one for Cherahoe, one for Westerly, and one for Stonington. And Brian, your incredible athletic director, said, "Well, actually, the day is going to be here for this one." And I went, "Yes, thank God." I will gladly share the day's live stream so that, people that would be expecting that game to be on 3-2-1 can watch it anyway. And the day does a fantastic job, so we love them. Um, Coach Spizzato,
Yeah.
you got anything that you'd like to say to Coach Francis? Any words of advice? Any threats?
Always trust yourself and the assistants, and kind of keep all the outside noise kind of out there, but probably something I already know, and stay the course, and everyone in the room knows what's best for the team, and that's really all that matters, because you guys are the ones that are there at practice every day and know the kids the best. And um, luckily at Westerly, we haven't had too many problems with people yelling from the stands and all that. So it's always been a positive thing with that. I think we have some great parents at Westerly and fans, and it's always packed at Westerly, and it's a great place to coach. And Stonington is very similar. I've been scouting games over there, and it's always a packed house over there as well. So one of the best things is the having success with also a very small roster. Like Stonington is actually a little smaller than us in their enrollment. Westerly, we're down to 590 kids, which is about half of what it was 25 years ago. It's crazy how small Westerly's kind of gotten as an enrollment, but we kind of hover around 40 roster players, and it's always if we stay healthy, we'll be good. And some years you stay healthy, some years you don't. One of the things we kind of pushed through last year, we actually didn't stay healthy. Had a good amount of offensive linemen hurt, and just had a lot of knee injuries, and luckily we were kind of able to overcome those, and get a couple guys back in the right spot toward the end, and just having a small roster, and it's the way you're planning practices. It's a big difference from teams that have like 70 kids on the team. So pretty much 60% of our linemen last year weren't even really linemen. They're just converted fourth string tight ends, or guys that are never going to be on the field any other way except for moving to line. And one of the guys, Damon Uva, who was our captain last year, who as a freshman he came in, he was probably like a running back, but he was probably like 5th or 6th on the depth chart. Then he was moving to tight end, and wasn't really getting on the field there. And he ended up being one of our best leaders and players the last year or two. He really embraced his position at guard. He actually had to play center a little bit, and if you're at the Super Bowl, you probably saw some snaps going all over the place, and he was kind of happy to move back to guard, and we actually threw a freshman in there at center in the second half of the Super Bowl. And even though Kyle was getting kind of manhandled there, the snaps were there, and just enough to kind of get us through that. And obviously the defense came through at the end with a couple of pick sixes, but the small roster thing. You guys only have about similar size, right? 40 something maybe.
We've been lucky to be in the 50s.
Yeah, that's good.
We're down. The school's down for us too. We're just over 400 kids, and there's like 80 boys in the freshman class, which is just kind of crazy. I mean, when you guys play NFL, you're going to see it. When we played them when I was in school, they had 11 on offense.
Yeah.
They had 11 on defense. They had 11 on special teams. It was just like it's just a different world for some of these bigger schools.
Yeah, keeps you fresh when you have all those subs, and can get people breaks on special teams. We try to do it here, but there's a lot of starters got to play every single snap. So
Yeah, absolutely. I just had a question and I forgot what I was going to say, Coach.
When you were when you were going through, playing high school and growing up, did you kind of, have a feeling like you kind of would want to be in the coaching shoes, or did that kind of come later? When you went to Springfield and
I think I kind of always thought it was there. I mean, my dad coached and ran the youth team for 20 plus years. He coached baseball, he coached Legion baseball, so it was kind of in the family. My brother coached at NFA and Ledger and stuff before, so it was always there. And then when I was going to school, I knew I kind of wanted to be a coach, so I was like, all right, I'll go to be a PE teacher. Similar to a lot of football coaches kind of are. Then when I got to Springfield and really kind of learn like the next level of football, that was really when I knew I wanted to be a coach. And then so I was lucky. Coach Massingill brought me on right out of college and stuff to really start getting that experience right away at the high school level.
Yeah, when I first, I played at UMass Boston for a year, and then I transferred because I dropped the program actually, and I ended up finishing my career, played 3 years at Framingham State, and was a running backs coach for a year before I came back to Westerly and started coaching at the high school in 2005. But Paul Castonia was my head coach at UMass, and he made us take quizzes. If you were a running back, you had to know the offensive line play. So we had to draw up the plays for him, and he would check them. And, that's where I really learned the kind of intricacies of the X's and O's of the offensive line. Because, growing up being a running back and linebacker, defensive back, you don't really pay attention too much about that while you're in high school. But I was always drawing up plays on my notebook in like 4th and 5th grade and all that. But I really learned a ton from Paul Castonia at UMass, and forcing us to kind of take those quizzes and learn, all the blocking schemes and who's got who and just kind of what makes it work. And that kind of really, got me even more interested. I kind of wanted to be a coach from, a young age after, especially after I was done playing in college. The first thing I wanted to do was kind of find a way to start coaching. So it was kind of always in our blood. And usually if you're a coach, you kind of, it's something it's in the back of your mind, even when you're a kid. So.
For sure.
I love it. Guys, now that I have both of you on record here on April 11th, 2026, now I know that I've had Coach Pizzato answer this question, and Ryan, I'm pretty sure that they stopped this long before you were a kid, going to Stonington. Yeah, Coach knows exactly what I'm saying. Can we get the rally back? Would you guys both be fine with the big Thanksgiving rally downtown coming back on the post office steps and stuff?
Mm-hmm. I'd be all for it. I think it was right when I started school is when that kind of stopped. But I know both my brothers, they both played and stuff. They both went through it and both enjoyed it. I would love to bring that back. I mean, bringing back some of the respect and tradition of the rivalry is a goal of mine.
I'm pretty sure, like when it was, in its heyday, that I'm not sure who actually was like overseeing it. Because I know we were always told by the coaching staff as players, try not to go down there. I think it'd be better if everyone was down there to kind of get the numbers up there. There just needs to be some kind of supervision, and I think it would be a success. You know what I mean? So it was pretty exciting. I remember my sisters were older than me. They graduated 90 and 92 from Westerly. So I remember going down there one time when I was like 10 years old, 9 years old. And being a little kid, and it makes it seem like it's so big. You know what I mean? That seemed like a million people there. It's definitely exciting. And I think it brings a lot to the rivalry. I love to see it again. And really, I think the only thing holding back, you just got to get people to supervise. And, if I would go and kind of watch my players, and some of the assistants I'm sure would go, and probably would need some kind of administrator from the school there. But other than that, I think everything would be a success.
On the town end, I've been told that it would be fine.
Yeah.
So they're all for it. So if you guys are both all for it, I think it's my mission this year to bring it back.
Cheerleaders commit, because they were a big part of it. The cheerleaders kind of yelling at each other. So they'd be a big part of it. They were kind of the show back when it used to happen. It was pretty much them yelling at each other. So
awesome. All right, cool. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
I'm down. I'm 100% down. Let's get it done. And then also, since Coach, now I know you, I actually never. I think I only got. I think I only ever, and this is a failure on my part. I think I've only ever talked to Coach Massengale like 1 or 2 times ever via text message. So, but Coach Francis, you're in the ecosystem now. So,
Yeah,
you're here, and that means I'm gonna put you on camera a lot. So I'd love to we'll do this upright, and we'll make that Thanksgiving Day a big thing. We'll come film promos beforehand, and I'm gonna, before you guys leave today, I would at least like to get a quick video of the two of you pretending to punch each other. The but it's
like
a
a boxing weigh-in.
yeah, like a boxing weigh-in, yeah, exactly. Um, I think it's always been, I'm sure that it wasn't always as friendly, but like this is really just one big community, and I think that that's what's made the rivalry so special over the last 100+ years, is that Stonington and Westerly are like literally 2 minutes away from each other, and basically on the same road, even 2 minutes away from each other, and that's what's so special about it. And I remember going to Stonington as a kid and playing on that field for flag football as a Charahoe Cowboy. And I knew that Stonington football was special long before I knew that Westerly football was so special, because we never played Westerly when I was at Charahoe in the early 90s. Um, for that. And then I think I was a part of the first ever scrimmage in high school in JV with Westerly Charahoe, because Charahoe had just come back since the 70s, I think.
Yep.
Like, we didn't have football for like 30 years, and then we did, and I got to be a part of that, and that was very nice. But Stonington football, because of that, because of playing the Bears as a 6-year-old, has always had a really strong place in my heart as a great football program. And I can't wait to see you lead the team back to the playoffs for the first time since 2002, because I know it's going to happen. And I'm really excited that we get a front row seat and get to document that ride, because watching the Bulldogs win the championship for the first time in 25 years or something, that was really fun for the last 3 years. Getting, if they had won the first time that we covered them all games, I don't think it would have been as satisfying as waiting like 3 or 4 years for us. And I'm really excited, Coach, to watch the growth that I know that's going to happen for the Bears under your leadership. And I'm really excited for that. And I'm really excited for the Thanksgiving Day games, and not just because it's our Super Bowl. And by our Super Bowl, I mean 3-2-1. If you'd like, the ads are now going for $1 million for 30 seconds. How important is the Pee Wee and Pop Warner? Is it just Pee Wee now? Is it Pop Warner gone?
I think there is Pop Warner. I think Stonington's in the same as Wesley, where technically it's called Pee Wee. So I think Pop Warner they weigh every week. That's one of the main differences if they still do that. So
that is why I stopped playing Pop Warner at one point. But
yeah, youth, and Ryan can say the same thing, I'm sure. But having a good youth program is huge, especially having one in your town, because they kind of are growing up with that Westerly and Stonington tradition. They're our guys are growing up to be Bulldogs, and hopefully we keep them here. There's places, I kind of always bring up Coventry, not to kind of bag on them, but they don't have a youth program, and they have a very big school. They got a lot of males students, but not having your own youth program, I think really hurts. Because you have kids playing all over the state in different leagues, and they're not really learning how to be a Coventry Oker. Here at Westerly, they're growing up coming through the Westerly system, and and it's a big deal. Like, you go to those youth games, and it's packed. There's more people at youth games than some of the high school games we go to. It's huge for the success of high school programs. Same thing with baseball. Having the right people involved in the little league and those kids growing up, it makes a huge difference having a good youth program. So I know you kind of came through the same thing, I'm sure, right?
Definitely. That's one of our biggest goals, is trying to build up a connection with the youth program. It's kind of been not there the last 5 years or so, I'd say.
Yeah.
And that's one of our real big goals, is trying to bridge that gap, build that connection. Back when I was in youth, it was actually kind of youth. We never played Westerly. Westerly was in the Connecticut League. We were in the Rhode Island League. We kind of flipped. So now they actually play each other every year, so the kids kind of grow up with it. But
Gravy bowl, baby. I was ironically, I played Stonington every year for Cherahoe. And also you said, Ron, you said about growing up a bear, growing up a bulldog. Like, that was a disconnect for me, and I think that the disconnect is real, as silly as it sounds. Like, going from being a Cherahoe Cowboy to a Cherahoe Charger makes a difference, actually. Like, not that I loved my time as a Cowboy, and I loved my time as a Charger, but it didn't feel like it was connected. And, I know that the youth programs aren't necessarily directly connected to the high school programs and the school programs, but the same name and the same logo does make you feel like it is. And it's really nice. And I love the tradition of the Cherahoe Cowboys, but it did always feel like, and we had, the bantamweight and junior bantam and all of those things back in the day. And like, some people wouldn't go play high school football because the youth football program, like, it was like people were literally like, I'm a Cowboy, I'm a Charger. Like, that was our rivalry. Was that some people didn't even want to go to play for the high school. This is, again, late 90s, early 2000s.
And Pop Warner, actually, the age is a little higher. So I remember there being a problem in Charahoe where some of the Charahoe kids would play Pop Warner when they were freshmen and not play for the high school team, which I'm sure was a huge problem with what we're just talking about, with the disconnect and not, having pride for your school and all that. So, they were missing out on freshmen because they were playing youth instead of high school.
That is, I'm listen, guys. By the way, the voice just walked in. He's very excited to get you guys to fight as well. We just want you at each other's throats in a friendly way. I mean, I think I've exhausted this conversation as much as possible, but I'm trying to milk this as much as possible. I'd love I love this. Ryan, you seem awesome. And I'm really excited to get to know you and work with you for many, many, many years to come. Coach Sposato, obviously you've become a great friend, and you're you essentially have your own show here on the network now, especially when Sal, and by the way, I hope Sal is doing okay. Seemed to be doing okay. Had a small procedure last week, and he's getting better. So we'll see Sal again soon. But Ryan, Coach Francis, we'd love to welcome you into the 321 family, and to anytime you want to talk, anytime you want to have players on, anytime you want to do anything like that, our studio is open to you. So
I appreciate that. And I know the kids like the media stuff, social media stuff being out there and stuff. So I'd love to get some of the players involved for sure. It's all about them.
Absolutely. All right. Either of you have anything else you want to talk about or say?
I think that's it. Had a nice, good show today.
All right, and now square up to each other. All right, thank you guys so much. We'll talk to you real soon.
Thanks for having me today.
Thanks, Ben.